How's everybody doing? Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. We're going to get started. Let's see. We don't have a youngin, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. And we will call the roll. Here.
Here. Clark.
Here.
Holt.
Here.
Rutherford.
Here.
Seymour.
Here.
Salter.
Here.
All righty, very good. Which one of you guys want to do invocation? You want to do it? Okay.
Father God, thank you for today. Thank you for just another night, God, to be about the business of the city of Shawnee. God, thank you for everything that we have been blessed with in our city. God, thank you for the young men and women that were here this last week participating in the rodeo and the hard work, God, that went into that, and God, all the amazing athletes and all of all of their accomplishments, God, and all of their families. Father, thank you for just another day. And God, I pray that everything that we do, that it be pleasing and honoring to you. Father, it's through your son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will go to item 1, which is citizen participation. Same rules as always, 3-minute limit per person, 12 minutes per topic. Our city attorney will be our timekeeper. Like always, you probably won't hear back from us. If you want to hear a response, you need to stick around and wait for commissioners' comments. So we have, looks like 2 folks that have signed up. Rob Morris is first. So Rob, if you'd like, come on down, and microphone is all yours. How are you doing tonight?
Good. A couple quick things tonight, nothing big. One, 2 weeks ago, we didn't get an explanation of what the Impact City report was. I'd like to get an explanation if that had to do with anything y'all voted on 2 weeks ago. The Homeless Resource Center, I was hoping that somebody could explain why it's a resource center and not a shelter, meaning so that you didn't have to notify everybody in the neighborhoods. Next is for the depot. It's been said a lot that it's a 50-50 split. It's a museum or other, and it's really not. It's 50% one a museum, and the closest one is 10% next. So it's being a little disingenuous when you act like it's a museum or. It's actually a museum or several other things. There's been some conversation about St. Benedict's, excuse me, and the widening of Kickapoo is going to tear out the steps in front of St. Benedict's, and that's got a lot of people worried. So maybe if we could get some clarification on what might happen to that, that would be helpful. And last but not least, glad the rodeo's over. Looked like it was really good. Heard some really good positive things about it. So now that the rodeo is over, could we get an update on where we go from here as far as what to do? And with that, I want to point out the very last thing. We're not supposed to talk during commissioners' comments to people. It's supposed to be before the next person comes up here. It's city code every single time. We don't get to make up the rules. Thank you.
All right, very good. Next up is Rick Young. How you doing, Rick?
Got a little quiz for the commissioners. Pass it down. What's your initial by your appropriate color? I'm a retired educator coach, and for years I spoke for 7 hours a day, sometimes as early as 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But each time I get up before this body, there's a little bit of nerves that are there, so I apologize. So I've written down my script, and I'd like to say, each time that I come, it is a privilege and honor to come before this body and our great nation, and I can still continue to say that. Now, I've been chosen to speak as an advocate and a consultant, and to request and place this before this body of a charter change on a future agenda for the original stakeholders, which are the citizens of wards 1 through 6 of our mayoral commissioners representative government format, to reflect and comply with said format. That's my agenda going forward. I basically had this put forward to a couple of individuals that know or had known the first 2 years that they were part of this board and a part of the leadership here. So I've spoken to those appropriate leaders to accomplish this, but wanted just to put this on the public record. It is documented. And first off, I want to say thank you for your time. Shiny forward, shiny America, citizen Potawatomi Nation, rising. And if you're here tonight under the sound of my voice, you've been called for such a time as this, and you hopefully have chosen to be part of the answer, not part of the problem, because I have. And I want to give 110% as we go forward. So thank you for your time. How do we do on the quiz?
Let's hope he did.
All right, thank you very much. We will go to item 2, consider approval of consent agenda. Does anyone want to make any changes to the consent agenda? If not, do we have a motion for approval?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, Darren and Daniel. All righty, we have a motion and a second to approve item 2. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 3 is presentation by Animal Control to present Pet of the Week. And it looks like we have a little puppy dog, not very old. Pretty cute. How are you guys tonight?
Hi. My name's Brandy. This is Wendy from Animal Welfare, and our pet of the week is Vanilla Float. He's about 3 months old, and he's not old enough to be neutered just yet, and so he would be $25 deposit and then a $10 city tag. His adoption fee is waived right now. In-house, we have 36 dogs, 6 cats, and 1 rooster still. We have done three dog adoptions, 2 cat adoptions. We've had 5 reclaims.
Very good. What was the dog's name again?
Vanilla Float.
Vanilla
I'm a little
Float.
hungry for Vanilla Float, so we got to get a little creative on names these days.
Yeah. Very
All right,
good.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay. Item 4, presentation by the United States Small Business Administration to present information on federal disaster loans. And I think Andrea is up.
I would actually just like to introduce our representative from the Small Business Administration. She will give us an overview of the disaster assistance that is available to us.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm a public informations officer. I represent the U.S. Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Assistance. So there was a presidential declaration of 7 counties, and including Potawatomi. So basically, we offer for the 7 counties, we offer physical loans, as well as an economic injury disaster loans. So for homeowners, first they apply for FEMA first, and then they get referred to us. That's how it works. When they do get rejected, that's how they come to us. For homeowners, you get up to $200,000 to repair or replace real estate, up to $40,000 for personal property, and which is to repair or replace physical damage, anything that's inside the home, primary car, and then there's a $40,000 for renters. So they can get also up to, for basically anything for personal property, primary car, same thing. So for businesses, we offer up to $2 million for physical damage, real estate, inventory, etc., equipment as well. And also the economic injury disaster loan that I told you, if you're closed during the timeline of May 2nd to May 8th, that's when the tornadoes had happened, tornadoes, severe storms, or flooding, can get up to basically up to $2 million as well. And that goes also for the nonprofits, that's including places of worship, can get these low interest government loans, up to $2 million for, again, physical damage, and also the economic injury disaster loans. For home loans is as low as 1.68%. For businesses as low as 2.93%, and for nonprofits as low as 1.87%. They're up to 30 years, these loans. The physical damage is the same thing as, the deadline is the same thing as FEMA. It's August 29th of this year. And the economic injury disaster loans is March 29th of next year. These loans they cover deductibles. There's no closing costs. And so basically for the uninsured and underinsured losses. We have mitigation improvements on the back of the sheet. I don't know if you see it. Basically to help for future damage. So you have an application process. We have 3 ways to apply. You can come to the Seminole State College, and that's going to be at 9 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday at Haney Center, and it's room, I think 115. Yeah, 115. But I will let you know this week, because there is going to be a disaster recovery center, which FEMA is going to be present, and we're also going to be present as well. So I'll let you know when that time comes this week. They're just trying to find a place. That's how it works. Now, I suggest everybody, if they do, they can just see what their options are. Apply for the loan. At the end of the day, it becomes an option. If they do not want the loan, they don't have to accept it. They have 5 months, as long as they make it before the deadline. At least they have that option as well. Also, I want to say, if you do get rejected from the loan, you do get referred back to FEMA. As far as the homeowner side, this is home loans and renters. So that's for that. For businesses, it's just the regular disaster loans. Okay. You can apply, if you can't make it to the center, you can apply at disasterloanassistance.sba.gov, and you can have as a reference and also ask questions. This customer service number is 1-800-659-2955. I also want to mention as well, we do have a relocation. So if you are in a flood zone area and you constantly are suffering, you can have that option as well as far as these loans. So I don't know if you have any other questions from me. Hope I answered them all.
Anybody got questions?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And I'll send you all, when I say get that update for that disaster recovery center. At least people can just apply it. They have a 1-800 number for FEMA, and they also have, which is disasterassistance.gov, to apply online for FEMA to get at least registered for them, for the homeowner side.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Item 5 is consideration of a funding agreement between Oklahoma Development Finance Authority and the City of Shawnee for the City of Shawnee P3 infrastructure project. And Mr. Foose is up.
Yes,
How are
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
sir?
Doing well. How are you, sir?
Doing great.
Good. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This item is to accept a grant through the Oklahoma Development Finance Authority. We'll provide up to $750,000 towards the Main Street reconstruction project. The Main Street Bridge is located between Minnesota Avenue and Tucker Avenue, next to the Santa Fe Depot. This program works by collecting a portion of participating businesses' payroll income taxes that are due to the state and providing those towards this project. The Main Street Bridge project was determined to benefit 72 businesses in downtown Shawnee. We had a total of 18 businesses agree to participate. In reviewing those, ODFA identified 6 that would be eligible for this program. With that, staff recommends approval of the grant funding agreement, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Have I got questions? Good. I guess not.
Thank you.
Anyone got a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second.
Cammy and Travis. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 5. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 6, consideration of professional services agreement with HALFF Associates, Inc. for the development of Shawnee Twin Lakes Master Plan. Mr. Harkins, how are you tonight?
Doing well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, Ryan Harkins, Community Development Director. This is a professional services agreement with Halfen Associates. This is a follow-up item from the discussions that the Lake Advisory Committee had over the last few months. You may remember you appointed that committee to look at a number of issues, and one of the recommendations they made was to pursue an area master plan that dealt with where to best place and coordinate recreation, commercial, as well as residential uses, and how the lakes go forward. And so staff issued a request for proposals that went out nationally, and we received 4 responses. We, as a selection team comprised of department heads and folks from the city manager's office, reviewed those proposals, shortlisted 2 to interview, and then selected Half Associates based on a number of factors, including the overall scope and proposed approach to this project. Having said that, they do have a representative here tonight if you have specific questions of them. Some of the material they gave us in the interview process we provided copies of for you as well. It's a scenarios-based approach, and they bring a number of projects that beef up their experience to this process that we think will be valuable. Staff is excited about starting this project. We'll initiate this toward the end of August, but we'll begin doing background data work with the consultant shortly after the agreement is signed. In terms of public input, there'll be a number of stakeholder groups and public meetings in the process. It's a 9-month period. Staff feels like this is doable, and the funding is already in place. With that, staff's recommendation to you is to approve the agreement and authorize the appropriate signatures. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Got questions?
I'd love to hear from the representative.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Okay.
If they have anything they'd like to say.
With that, I'll ask Nate from Half Associates to come up. He's with their Oklahoma City office.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
How you doing, Nate?
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor. Nate Clare, Director of Planning and Landscape Architecture with Half Associates out of Oklahoma City. We're excited for this opportunity to work with you. We're currently working in Lawton right now on a Lakes Master Plan with the City of Lawton. This is a huge opportunity for your community, not only for your residents to develop not only recreational amenities, but travel and tourism opportunities that will create a fiscal impact for your community. So we have a pretty in-depth process that is inclusive and collaborative, includes some public outreach and engagement. So that'll be part of our process. We've worked with Ryan and staff to help develop that scope of work, and that's detailed in our scope of work that he mentioned. So we anticipate this to be about a 9-month process.
You guys are located in Oklahoma City, is that right?
Yes, yeah, we have an office in Oklahoma City. We're in the Midtown District, just by St. Anthony's. About 25 folks in our office. We also have offices in Arkansas and North Texas as well.
Okay.
This is my ward, so I read through this with a fine-tooth comb, and I really appreciated the scope of work that you guys put together, including so many processes for the community to be involved, the residents at the lake and also the community at large. I wanted to emphasize, I know you understand this, but this is our water source here in Shawnee. So I'm assuming that the overall goal here with the master plan is to protect and maintain our environmental resources, correct?
Absolutely, and that's part of, we have many disciplines at HAF, but we also have, we consider ourselves scientists. We have environmental scientists as part of our team. We do a lot of work knowing these are not Army Corps lakes, but we do a lot of work with the Army Corps of Engineers, and so we're very familiar with all the environmental processes and regulations, and that this is a municipal water source is definitely high on the priority list to protect that, but able to use this as an amenity for your residents.
And just so everyone understands, the plan itself is sort of a guide to get us started for future ideas. Could you explain that just a little bit so everyone understands what this is for? Yeah, so what this will be is an assessment, kind of a land use assessment for the area surrounding the lakes. It will look at development opportunities. It'll look at recreational opportunities. We have a consultant on our team, Urban 3,
who does fiscal assessment. And so when we look at infrastructure that you put into for development that's necessary to get development started, it'll look at how long it'll take to see a return on that investment depending on the types of development that the city pursues. And so we'll look at various scenarios. One scenario will be basically your baseline is you do nothing and leave it as is. That's kind of the baseline. And then we'll look at various scenarios, whether it's pocket development, small nodes of commercial or retail or recreational. So we'll look at a number of different scenarios and be able to assess those so that you can weigh them against one another.
This will help us determine any additional parks or things perhaps that are located, maybe there's this is an example, but say there's a swim area now and it may not be the best place for that. This plan will help us determine where those items should go in the future if they were to come in.
Yeah, that's part of the land use element that we'll look at. Is we'll review all the existing uses and recreational areas, confirm that those are either in good locations or they might be better suited elsewhere, and then look at future development areas where those would best be located, whether they're on your major access to and from Interstate 40, things like that. Anything else?
Anybody else got questions?
I was really pleased to see how intentional the advisory committee will be used in this. It looks like there's going to be several opportunities for you to get their feedback, and then also at least two, if not more, public meetings to where looks like two public meetings where the other citizens can weigh in and see the proposed plan, because I think that's the often some of the struggles that we have with our citizens not understanding where we're headed or what the future is going to look like, and I'm really excited to see that there will be a proposed plan, and then that they'll get to see that before we vote on it. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, as part of our philosophy and approach, we understand. So we're experts in planning, park planning, land use planning, but we are not experts on your community. You are the experts in your community. Your residents are the expert in your community. So that plays a heavy role in our process. Is bringing those people to the table and creating those advisory committees and having those public input sessions. So that's where we get a lot of feedback and input on the plan that helps us work with you to develop a tailored plan for Shawnee.
You briefly mentioned development, but you also mean residential development as well, perhaps where additional houses could go in the future.
We're gonna look at all kinds of, whether it's single-family residential development or commercial development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone, anything else you want to talk about, or we want to make a motion on this?
I think it was pretty thoroughly prepared.
Yes.
Yep, sure looked like it.
I'm excited about the participation portions.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Darren, okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 6. We'll call the question. And item passes 7-0. Item 7 is a public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 502 North Beard Avenue from C2 Limited Office District to R2 Medium Density Residential District, case number RZ08-22, applicants Rucker and Lugo. And Ryan is up again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Again, Ryan Harkins, Community Development. This is a rezoning request, as noted, for 502 North Beard. It's currently zoned C2, which is a limited office zoning district. The applicant is requesting to step down in density from that to the R2, which is a medium density residential. So there's R1 farther north, there's commercial to the south. This would essentially begin to create a buffer in between the two in that step down approach. The applicant is here and can speak to this proposal as well, but basically they're looking at remodeling the existing unit and then evaluating other potential residential options.
Okay.
I would note that the Planning Commission recommended this item be approved unanimously to you. Staff's recommendation based on factors outlined in the staff reports for Planning Commission and as well as to you support that as well.
All righty. So everybody looking at that. All right. Anyone got questions for Ryan while we've got him? If not, we can go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this proposition? You guys come on up. There you go.
How we doing, guys?
Good. How are
Appreciate
you?
your time. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to rezone the property, make it a legal duplex. We've already secured lending on the property to do all the rehabs. We've already done the foundation, the roof, the PEX plumbing, the joist layout. So we're just looking to get the approval so we can finish the job.
Okay. Did you get their names? I didn't think I heard.
Sorry. Oh, yes, ma'am. Tyler Rucker.
And Jose Lugo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone got questions for them while we've got them?
Awesome.
Sounds good.
We appreciate it, guys.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor? Anyone like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Any more discussion up here? If not, is there anyone like to make a motion on this?
Move to approve the item.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
sir. Daniel and Cammy. All right, you're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An ordinance concerning the zoning classification of the following described property located within the corporate limits of the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, to wit. Lot 8, Block 5, Woodland Park addition to the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, according to the recorded plat thereof, from zoning classification C2, Limited Office District, to R2, Medium Density Residential District, amending the official zoning map of the city of Shawnee accordingly.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second for approval of item 7. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 8 is another public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 1303 West Farrell Street from A1 Rural Agricultural District to C3 Highway Commercial District, case number RZ09-22. Applicant is K. Steele. And Ryan, you're up again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commission members. This is a request, as noted, at 1303 West Farrell to rezone from the A1 Rural Ag to the C3, which is Highway Commercial. The future land use map designates this as a mixed use designation. C3 zoning is a compatible use based on that, or a compatible zoning district. The Planning Commission heard testimony at their public hearing about this request to look at future commercial options that are being evaluated by the applicant as well as other interests. They recommended approval to you based on factors outlined in the comprehensive plan. Staff's recommendation is approval as well based on that and other items outlined in the staff report.
Alrighty. Anybody got questions for Ryan? If not, I guess we'll open the public hearing. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor? How you doing, Kate?
Vote and city commissioners, I'm speaking in favor of it. According to the master plan and speaking with the chamber, that the south part of town doesn't not have a commercial land to really bring something in right off the exit, Farrell exit. I'm right off the Farrell exit is coming from the CUMSA. And I have maybe an opportunity to make that into commercial property if I get it rezoned. So I'd appreciate your consideration.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Anybody got questions for Kay? Nope, I guess not. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Seeing none, we'll move on to anyone like to speak in opposition. And seeing none, then we will close the public hearing. And anybody got anything we want to talk about up here? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Taryn and Travis, you are up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An ordinance concerning the zoning classification of the following described property located within the corporate limits of the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, to wit: the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 24, township 10 north, range 3 east of the Indian Meridian, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, less than except that portion of subject property taken for highway purposes as shown by the report of commissioners recorded in book 187, page 686, and report of commissioners recorded in book 220, page 692, and by report of commissioners recorded in book 229, page 66, and by journal entry recorded in book 258, page 457, records of the county clerk of Pottawatomie County from zoning classification A1, rural agricultural district, to C3, highway commercial district, amending the official zoning map of the city of Shawnee accordingly.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 8. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 9 is public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located 506 North Beard Avenue from C3 Highway Commercial District to R2 Medium Density Residential District. Case number RZ 1022, applicant Abraham Santana. Yes, sir. One more time.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So this is a rezoning request as noted for 506 North Beard. It is similar to the case you just approved, where property is zoned at the time of request C3 with a request to rezone to R2. Again, it continues that step down process from the R1 into the commercial zoning districts. In a very similar manner, the applicant is rehabbing the existing residential structure and looking at what other potential options could be available, whether it be an ADU or a duplex or something of that nature, but is requesting approval at this time of this rezoning. Planning Commission, when they looked at this item, has recommended approval on a unanimous vote to you. Staff's recommendation is approval as well.
All right, thank you. Anyone got questions for Ryan? I don't see any, so we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor? Come on up. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for hearing this matter. I'm the owner of 506 North Beard. Like the gentleman mentioned, I would like to pursue the option to be able to build in the back, provide more housing for the community. If the chamber will allow me to do so, then I'd love to be able to play a part in housing right here.
Okay, and I know that our city clerk would love to have your name.
My name is Abraham Santana.
Very good. Anybody have questions for Mr. Santana while we have him? I don't see any. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Not seeing any. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? And I guess not, so we will close the public hearing and we'll entertain a motion, or do you want to, is there anything else we need to discuss up here?
Move to approve item 9.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
And Cammie. All right, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An ordinance concerning the zoning classification of the following described property located within the corporate limits of the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, to wit: the south half of Lot 7, Block 5, Woodland Park addition to the city of Shawnee, Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, according to the recorded plat thereof, from zoning classification C3, Highway Commercial District, to R2, Medium Density Residential District, amending the official zoning map of the city of Shawnee accordingly.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 9. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 506 North Beard Avenue from R2 Medium Density Residential District to R2 Medium Density Residential District with a conditional use permit, CUP, for an accessory dwelling unit, ADU, case number CUP 04-22, applicant Abraham Santana. Mr. Harkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. No action will be needed on this item. As noted in the staff report, the applicant has withdrawn their request at this time while they are reevaluating potential options. However, it's included in your agenda packet because the request was made after the legal notices had been issued.
Okay.
And so as a housekeeping item, we have this included in the report. So again, it's just a matter of public record to note that it was legally advertised, but the request was withdrawn, so no action will be needed on the part of the commission.
Okay, so we don't need to take any action on
No,
this
you do
then?
not, sir.
All right, very good. We will move on to item 11. Consideration of the following budget amendments for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. And looks like Jacob's going to do those for us.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
Thank you, sir.
We've got 4 budget amendments tonight. Sub-items A, B, and D are all housekeeping items. They're addressing POs that are being pulled over from the prior fiscal year 22 into the new fiscal year FY 23, as well as an SMA transfer, which was budgeted in FY 22, but was delayed to allow for the processing of reimbursements from loan proceeds for the water treatment plant. Wasn't completed in FY 22, so we're doing it now. And then sub-item C, of course, is the acceptance of the Avitas grant, recognition of that as revenue, and allocating that for an expenditure. With that, staff recommends approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, anybody got questions? Seems pretty cut and dry to me. I think we're good. Thank you, sir. Anyone got a motion?
I'll move to approve item 11.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Man, that was quick. I think you got that. We'll go Daniel and Darren. All righty, so we have a motion and a second to approve item 11. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 12, consider bids, and this is Woodland Veterans Park Improvement Project, and I think we're going to award those today. So, Mr. Schmidt, how are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
So as you recall, we received 6 bids for the Woodland project. After staff review, staff recommends approval to Downey Contracting for the base bid plus all the alternates. For a total amount of $4,768,153.
Anybody got questions?
Can you remind me start time and project length estimate? So estimated start time is would be first part of September with a 300-day project timeline.
So that would be 1st of July, something like that, ballpark, depending on weather and who knows what else.
Yes, sir.
Have we worked with Downey Contracting before?
Yes, sir. Downey Contracting is currently performing the construction of our new water plant.
Okay, that's right.
And this is also the contractor who completed Scissortail in Oklahoma City.
Right. I thought I remembered that name from there. Anybody else got questions or want to make a motion? I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Be exciting to get this started. All righty, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 12. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Well, we didn't. Nope, we're good. And this is for item B here on the Kamek.
Correct.
This is that strange area that wasn't included in our sewer, if I remember right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So staff received two bids, one from Kraft Reynolds Construction for $626,330.50. The second quote was, or bid was from Downing Contracting for $831,971. Staff requests deferral of the item into a future meeting to review the bids.
Move to defer.
No second.
So we have a motion and a second for item 12B to defer to a future meeting. So we'll call the question on that. And that passes 7-0, so we'll defer that. Item 13 is acknowledge monthly sales tax and budget reports. And Jacob's going to do that for us.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
Yes, sir.
The sales tax and budget reports are included in the agenda packet. Of note, sales tax collections are up approximately $329,000 to date, or 16.84% over the projected budget year to date. Use tax collections are also up by approximately $15,000 or 5.73% over budgeted projections year to date. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's pretty good news.
It's a good start.
Wow. Anybody got questions on that? Just promise that again for next month. Very good. Thank you so much. Item 14, administrative reports. First one is a quarterly half-cent sales tax overview, and Mr. Foose is going to do that one for us.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. See if that pop up. There we go. As always, happy to present the quarterly update on the half-cent sales tax. And see if I got it right. There we go. Just a quick refresher, the special tax is allocated for capital improvements, with 25% for public safety, 25% for streets and roads, and the remaining 50% for parks and public facilities. Investment updates. Since the update to the City Commission in March of this year, an additional $1.36 million has been invested in community projects as part of the half-cent sales tax program. Of those, the most notable ones include over $244,000 for the Kids Space Park and the Woodland Veterans Park projects, over $409,000 for the Expo fence and roof replacement projects, over $334,000 for street improvement projects, and over $144,000 for the 45th Street project. As of today, over $9.6 million has been invested in community projects as part of the 2018 half-cent sales tax, and to date, over $12.3 million has been collected from that tax. Jumping into some of the specific projects, we have a quick update. For Fire Station number 1 and number 3, a preliminary review of Station 3 is complete. Staff is working with an architecture firm to secure a design service agreement. For the fire engine replacement, staff has been in discussion with vendors to evaluate options and identify preliminary cost estimates. We hope to have something in the next 2 to 3 months on that. And then for the fire training structure, the conceptual design is complete and currently being reviewed by staff. Jumping into streets and roadways. On the 45th Street project, design for Phase 1 is currently at 65% completion. Staff anticipates the design to be complete by December of this year. Next, for the pavement overlays and panel replacements, staff is currently preparing the unit price bid documents and hopes to have that in the next 2 to 3 months. Finally, on parks and public facilities, I'll quickly go through these. The implementation of the Parks Master Plan focuses on 2 primary parks, Kid Space Park and Woodland Veterans Park. Kid Space Park is currently under construction with completion expected by summer of next year. And then for Woodland Veterans Park, we just had that bid award with construction starting soon. Then for sidewalks and trails, we have 3 projects of focus. Independence Street project, construction was completed a few weeks ago with the exception of the railroad crossing portion. City staff continues to coordinate with the railroad for their approval to complete that final segment. Then on the Kickapoo Street project, construction bids will be opened at the August 1st meeting, and we'll begin construction shortly after that. And then finally, the Highland Street sidewalk project, we are currently in the right-of-way acquisition process and hope to complete that soon. With that, we always want to thank the voters for their approval of the half-cent sales tax, and I'm happy to answer any questions of the commission.
All right, anybody got questions? Things seem to be moving along well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next report is Lions Club ball fields, and Andrea's going to do that one.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. You may remember that at the last City Commission meeting, we had a public comment in regard to the Lions Park fields that are currently under contract between the city and the YMCA. We do have a $1 a year lease agreement with the YMCA for the use of those fields for various sports activities. And the question was in regard to fiduciary and physical responsibilities. So what was included in your agenda package is the most recent agreement, because the new one for this current year, the 2022-2023, has not yet been signed, but that agreement will also not change substantially other than the dates. Looking at that agreement, we've marked up all of the responsibilities for both the YMCA, the city, as well as those responsibilities that are joint. And the larger landlord-like responsibilities that fall to the city are pertaining to sewer line repair or major water break repairs, roof replacements, of which we actually have done 2 roof replacements on the dugouts, and the concession stand in 2021. But the smaller repairs, and particularly the maintenance of the fields themselves, fall within the responsibility of the YMCA as the party to the agreement. With that said, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. We are currently coordinating directly with the YMCA to get that issue resolved, which is on the house side rather than the city side of responsibilities. But I made sure that Mr. Job, the executive director, has my cell phone number just in case something else pops up in the future.
Okay. Have we worked to reach out to the citizen that came and brought this up, just so that they have clarity as well?
I can certainly do that.
That'd be great.
Any other questions?
If I heard you correct, you're saying you are working with the YMCA director to improve the maintenance of the fields?
The YMCA director has retained the services of a plumbing contractor, and the YMCA director currently has the cell phone number of one of our technical staff to help them pinpoint the problem, because it is on the house side of things. City staff knows that, and we're trying to help them identify the problem a little faster. So he has direct access to the contact information for our city staff. And in terms of the maintenance of the fields themselves, it is a joint fiduciary responsibility between the city and the YMCA, but the YMCA is responsible for the management of that third-party contract that actually maintains the fields.
Okay. Any other questions? So just to kind of go back to last meeting, just so people hear it again, the question was about the restrooms.
Correct.
So what we're hearing you say is that the problem there is in a portion that the YMCA would be responsible for maintaining, but we are trying to help them with technical advice and that sort of thing.
The location of the issue on their side, that is correct. And the problem on the plumbing side that the YMCA is responsible for is preventing the water to be turned on, which in turn affects the usability of the restrooms.
Right.
So it is a relatively minor problem that has big impacts overall.
Absolutely. Okay, very good. Any other questions?
Do we feel we've opened the lines of communication and kind of responsibility so that hopefully we can avoid future issues?
And that was the exact, I'm glad you asked, that was the exact topic of conversation I had with the executive director. Such a minor issue should not have taken this long. We're trying to find the exact breakdown in communication that I can report on at a later time, because there seems to have been some disconnect. I know that the executive director has my cell phone, and
he sees me every day at the Y.
yeah, so I'm not exactly sure where that breakdown in communication happened.
Yeah, but we'll get that fixed. Any other questions? I guess not. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's see, 14C is Santa Fe Depot update. Mr. Harkins is going to do that for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, we wanted to give you essentially a monthly update on additional research and steps after the visioning process. You may remember that process included not only a web page and an online survey, but a number of town hall style type of meetings, as well as a listening session. Some individuals in the community came to multiple sessions, which was good. We also did a number of community group meetings. In fact, I will tell you, I spoke to the Lifelong Learners Group, and this very topic came up last week, among others, as far as what they'd like to see. In terms of preferences from the town hall feedback, if you were there, you remember we did a rating system based on the alternative boards from great to poor. In terms of the great functionality, museum got about half of the votes, and then they were spread out. Other votes received a spread as well. But the online question was a little bit of a different story, much more even in terms of results. Some people picked multiple choices, some only picked one. The museum garnered about 35%, but other uses that you see there range anywhere from visitor center to farmers market, art center, restaurant, all gained votes as well. But when you analyze and put all these together, what you get is a picture that says what, and this is something we heard repeatedly as the town hall process went on, what could we do in conjunction with the museum? What else could we put in this? And so when we analyzed that feedback and ranked these are the 5 functions that came out as the top things to work in conjunction potentially with a museum. A visitor center, community and venue space, arts and performing arts center, a farmer's market, as well as a restaurant. And so with that in mind, staff's next steps have been to look at some of the peer depots we did original research on and come back to those to see what other information we could glean. And that includes one-on-one discussions with people involved in those structures. In fact, I'll be having a discussion with folks from Norman tomorrow about their depot. I had a conversation with Strong City, Kansas last week, and will be having another one to follow up to see what other information in writing we can get. And that will include copies of agreements as we can get them, and ideas and discussions on structure, how lease agreements are structured, how much space is allocated to which use, things of that nature, and ownership and things like that. So those are some of the issues we're trying to incorporate and those lessons learned from each of these peer cities. Some of the other activities that we're currently looking at, we have reached out to the architect who did the original building envelope study and asked them to update their cost estimate. So we should have that, we're hoping, by the end of this month. That is something they were happy to provide, so we're working with them on that. As far as other steps, we mentioned talking with other depots and other communities. Then we continue to look at additional potential research on funding options based on the information we're getting from these peer communities. So that can involve private funding, private and philanthropic organizations, foundations, as well as state and federal funding sources. So it will be a range of things, I'm sure. We continue to meet with Potawatomi County Historic Society. I know the city manager and a couple of members of the commission met with members of their board last week for additional discussions about next steps in terms of the lease agreement. Those will be ongoing as we look at additional options as well. And with that said, I'd be happy, I know that's a very brief overview, but we wanted to give you a quick update, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? Guess not.
All right.
Thank you very much. Good information. Item 15 is new business.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 16 is commissioner comments. I think we started down that way last time, so Benny, you want to go first?
We certainly have a lot of projects going at one time, and I'm glad that just one staff person doesn't have to watch all of it. And in reference to the comment about the steps at St. Benedict's, I'm sure that there'll be in discussion with the Highway Department. The same thing happened at University Baptist Church. They removed the steps at University Baptist Church when they did the north half of Kickapoo. And you come out of that church, there's the sidewalk and then there's the street. So it'll be probably something along that line. Most of the people, the parishioners, they use the west entrance and come in. Usually it's just visitors that would come in the front door. I think that's it.
I'm like Benny, we have a ton of stuff going on, and you know, some of the projects are getting close to completion, some are in the middle. I'm sure staff is overwhelmed with trying to keep up with all of it. Sales tax, welcome sight to see it, still trailing really well. Rodeo looked like it went off good, other than being just cotton picking hot. That's really about all I've got. It's hot.
It's hot. Y'all covered that very well. Excited to get the lake study underway and all the projects that city staff has going. It's just continued progress. Glad to see it. Hope everyone stays cool and stays safe.
Again, it is amazing to see a lot of the hard work from city staff and commissions past coming to fruition with the project completions and some of the projects, beginnings. And it's I, for one, am really looking forward to the parks being renovated and updated, because I'm driving my son to Tecumseh so he can skate at the skate park in Tecumseh, and that's kind of silly. So I'm really, he's really looking forward to the skate park being redone and all of the improvements there. And oh gosh, along with city projects, it's amazing to see the number of applicants for rezonings and for improvements on residential properties, as well as the really exciting about that area in 177 and Farrell for possible growth there as far as commercial opportunity. And so I look forward to see what amazing opportunities could happen for that part of Shawnee. Again, just always city staff, thank you so much for your hard work and for being who you are and doing what you do, and appreciate you and everything that you do. Mr. Morse, I'm not quite sure I understand your question about Impact City. If you can hang out for just a second, I'd love to just talk to you about that and see what you were referring to, because I don't recall that being part of last week's meeting, or excuse me, the week before last meeting. And then it's good to see the depot continue to move forward. I know that those conversations are still going, and really hopeful that some agreements can be reached that are beneficial for both the amazing folks of the Historical Society and the City of Shawnee. And that's about all I have.
My turn. Mr. Young mentioned how nerve-wracking it can be to come speak at the meetings, so I appreciate everyone that comes and participates in the comments from the citizens' comments section. I wanted to give a special shout out to our Public Works Department. The past couple weeks, they've been working tirelessly in the heat on multiple projects. I've been juggling a lot of things as the rodeo was here. And I had several citizens, I'm trying to make sure that everyone understands, if you're in my ward especially, if you email me at my city email address, that email is seen, and then it's directed to Andrea. And I say, hey, Andrea, I got this question. What can you tell me about these things? And she shoots back a detailed bullet point list of where we are in the process, whether that's mowing, so we got some mowing stuff handled, or whatever that may be. And Public Works got on those things and they got stuff handled, and I really appreciate the timeliness of all of the city staff's work on those issues. So if you have a problem, I understand. I think the current city staff may catch a lot of flack from whatever the reason was in the past, but since I've been elected, I've seen if someone approaches me with the problem and I tell staff, it is addressed, or at least get an answer very quickly to report back to you as a citizen. So please email me. I would love to, honestly, I would love to handle those problems that arise. So it may be something that you say, oh, the city doesn't care about our street. We've been here 10 years. They never come down this way. But now, try again. So now email me again and see if we can get those things handled for you. The Santa Fe Depot, I didn't have questions for Ryan because I've been extensively in talks with the Potawatomi Historical Society, and feel like we are really moving forward. I'm really excited about the possibility of what we can do together. The Historical Society adds so much value to the town, and then with the renovation of the depot, bringing that back to life, having a museum element, and then whatever else arises, it could be some sort of city hub and center for activity and pride downtown. Makes me really excited. Let's see, what else do I have here? Sorry, I'm talking so long today. Of course, the master plan for the Shawnee Twin Lakes. As I said earlier, I looked through the scope of work, and I was really encouraged by the company's presentation. I think it is going to include the citizens extensively. It seems to be exactly what we need to move forward, and there's some advantages of us having this study completed moving forward that would help the residents tremendously, and also the city at large. So I will be diligently participating in that process and making sure that they are upholding their end of the bargain. And I know the staff will too, so thank you.
First, I want to start off, I appreciate staff's use of administrative reports. That's been a welcome addition to what we do, and I think it helps provide information in a timely and accurate manner that sometimes we don't have at our fingertips up here. For instance, the baseball fields, a citizen had a concern, and we were able to address it and kind of get all of it out there, and hopefully that becomes a better thing for our entire community. With one of the comments tonight, it might be a good, we're probably at halftime or wherever we are, but just to get an administrative report over the Kickapoo expansion and where we are and what that project looks like. So I'd like to request that. Mr. Young, I hear you and I see where you're going, and I'm happy to talk further with you and look forward to supporting where I think you're headed, because I think it's the right thing for the citizens of our community. Thanks to all the volunteers who made the rodeo another great success for our community. Talked with several visitors that were very excited and very, very thankful for all that everyone was doing. Moving on to the lake plan, I will admit that I had a little bit of sticker shock at first when we saw it, but I think we knew that when we voted to put the Lake Advisory Committee in place, and knew this would be a needed thing. And then I think when you realize that special projects that cover specialty or sensitive areas likely or come at a higher cost than just a normal plan. So this is going to, I think, put a great tool in our hands for the future. And we continue our streak of anytime someone named Jacob delivers the tax news, it's good. So appreciate you pitching in and bringing good news. So finally on the depot, again, hopefully we can be deliberate but move with purpose on the actual planning and renovation. But I want to stress again how this is a collaborative effort, and I've enjoyed our times to collaborate and dream and plan and work through with the Potawatomi County Historical Society the dreams I think they have for that part of town, and I think many of our community support will make it an area that we're very proud of, and restore that area of town to something we can all be proud of, and a real jewel of our community. And collaborative efforts take a lot of work sometimes, and I think both sides are really committed to making it happen. So appreciate them collaborating with us, and all of us making the commitment to do the hard work. So, and again, to staff, appreciate all that they're doing.
Very good. Lots of good updates tonight. Appreciate staff's work on those. I think those have been very informative and have been really good. So I always look forward to hearing those. Sales tax, good news. Keep shopping in Shawnee. I mean, that's how we keep the lights on. So everybody, please keep shopping here in town, and get your friends and family to come in from out of town and do that. We take their money too. There were a lot of good events in Shawnee in the last week. I mean, obviously the rodeo was here. There was a really nice car show on Main Street that we walked through Saturday, and a lot of people. They had, I think, 180 cars there. That was amazing. It stretched out for a number of blocks. The restaurants seemed to be really busy. People in and out of shops. I know there was a couple of food trucks and some craft vendors and that kind of stuff there, but really nice event. So really enjoyed that. From what I hear of everything at the rodeo went really well. There was a block party on Main Street Thursday night that went really well, and met some new folks there, that some of them in attendance here tonight. There was also a big neighborhood block party, I think Friday night, wasn't there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was a lot going on, so that was good to see. Even with all the heat, I think people managed to get out and have a really good time. So lake study getting started is kind of exciting. I think we're going to learn a lot from that, and I think that'll be a good process, and looking forward to that. There was talk about the stairs there at St. Benedict's, and we knew that was coming. I think when I had Andrea look at that, the check for that was cut, was it February, January last year, 2021. So the church had dealt with the group that we hired to negotiate those settlements and had accepted their check. So I know at the church, they've known, for quite some time this is coming. I go to church there. I've heard that talked about there for quite some time. Yes, it's going to be a change. I'm sure they're smart people. They're already looking at, how they're going to do things differently. And as Benny said, a lot of folks use that new entrance that was built, a few years back, but a lot of them go in the west entrance. I'm one of the oddballs that generally went up the front door, but I'm sure they're well aware of that, and they've got a plan. There was a question about Homeless Resource Center and why it's called that. Well, it's not an overnight center, so Resource Center seems to make a lot of sense to me. I didn't pick the name, but I think it makes a lot of sense. It's not a overnight center, so we're not providing housing, and we are providing resources there in addition to a place for people to go. And understand that's opening soon, like this week, today. So there will be resources there from agencies that do wraparound services for the homeless. So the goal is to try to find what can we do to help them get out of homelessness. And so, I think that's going to be a good thing. Let's see, Mr. Young, you talked about charter changes. I know you and I have had that conversation a few times, and as Daniel said, I'm in your court there. So hopefully we'll get to move forward on that soon. But I'm in agreement with you. The depot, good update on that. There was a question about, museum and something else, and especially if you look at the online results, there does seem to be the desire for a museum and something else, and just the financial realities of it. That's probably the way that's going to have to go. So anyway, and I know lots of work to be done on that, but things seem to be moving forward well, so looking forward to how that will work out. And with that, we will adjourn and move on to, I think we usually go to airport next. Yes, it is, airport. So item 1 is the consider approval of consent agenda. It doesn't look like we have much there. Anyone like to make the motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir. So Darren and Mark. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 1. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 2 is new business. Thank you, ma'am. We are adjourned and we'll move to the municipal authority. Item 1 is consider approval of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Daniel and Travis. Alrighty, we have a motion and second for approval. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 2, consideration of a budget amendment for fiscal year 2022 to 2023, Fund 501, Shawnee Municipal Authority Fund to appropriate fund balance for Shawnee Municipal Authority Fund for encumbrances in fiscal year 2021 to 2022, which goods and services were not received in fiscal year 2021 to 2022, but will be received in fiscal year 2022 to 2023. Also for additional transfers to general fund due to fiscal year 2021 to 2022, reduced actual transfers for issues of timing. And Mr. Foose is up, and I think you've already explained this to us. One, it's just stuff that slid into the next calendar year.
Yes, sir. Just housekeeping.
Or into the next fiscal year. So, any questions for Jacob while we got him? Pretty cut and dry, I think. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Travis and Cammie. All righty, so we have motion and a second for approval of item 2. We'll call the question. Motion passes 7-0. Item 3 is new business.
No new business.
Thank you, ma'am. We are adjourned. Everybody be careful in the heat this week and next week and however long it's going to last.